ओके।
चालू करें।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome back to our Saturday morning talks. Today we will continue on our previous topic, happy and fulfilled life. In the last session we talked about how we can avoid cluttering of mind through things which are not needed. We should see good things, we should hear good things, we should read good things so that our mind is not cluttered and it is what we call gradually cleaned in the process. Now today we will start with the same topic. First of all, in concerning the mind, I would recommend everyone to find 45 minutes to 1 hour in the morning to one's own self. This is extremely important. Whatever time you get up in the morning, after taking your shower, I think it's important to do some yoga either before shower or after, and do little bit of recharging of batteries, that is meditation. It won't take more than 45 minutes if you make it a practice. Like I do every day morning when I don't have any other engagement. I spend approximately 1 hour in yoga and meditation. That recharges your battery for the day, as we recharge our mobile phone every day. Same way, I think we need to recharge our mind, and this gives a extremely good beginning to a very stable and peaceful day. So this is one practice I will recommend to everybody, that after taking or before taking your shower, you should do some asanas, and after taking shower, do some meditation for 15-20 minutes, and then start your day. I think this is the time very well spent for our own happiness, on our own well-being, and it will avoid the irritations, the anger, and all other kind of emotional vulnerabilities throughout the day. So this is one thing which I would recommend. Now, coming to the part of healthy living, we have to concentrate on the body, because body and mind complex is interrelated. We talked about the mind, that how we should not take things which are not good, not pleasant. For example, if we keep watching violent movies, the tendency in our mind starts becoming violent. So we have to avoid those kind of tendencies through avoiding the literature, what we see, the films and other things, and what we hear. And that is why in Upanishads they always begin with the mantra that हे परमात्मा मुझे अच्छा सुनाओ, अच्छा दिखाओ और मेरे को शांत रखो. This is what they start with. So we should also start our day with that, and then we should do this asana and meditation every day. Now on the food part, because food becomes our body. Whatever we eat, whether it is chapati or juice or dal or vegetables, whatever we take, ultimately that converts into our blood and flesh, and it nourishes our body structure as well as our mind. So some precautions we will talk about the food today, and then we will proceed further. And body healthy body is very important because this is what we call the vehicle of our journey of life. If body is not healthy, you can feel that your mind is not stable and you feel weak. Sometimes you become irritating because of the weakness in the body. So healthy body is very important. In Rajasthani we say Pehlo Sukh Nirogi Kaya. That is Nirogi Kaya is very, very important. So first thing we should do that we should have right amount of food. Right amount of food means there is no prescribed norms for that. You have to develop your own norms depending on your body structure. You have to observe your body how it reacts. So the amount, the quantity of food, the timings of the food, and the variety of the food which you eat, you have to decide based on your body's reaction to what you have been eating. That is how it takes 2-3 months to structure your food habits, but it is important to observe that what food is suitable for you, what timings are suitable, what quantity is suitable. But fundamentally, one should eat 3 times a day and one should avoid eating in between. That is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it is best to avoid in between so that your what we call the digestive system takes little rest in between. That is one thing. Second thing, we have to eat fresh and seasonal fruits and vegetables. Those exotic fruits and vegetables which come from other parts of the world are not necessarily seasonal. For example, you get mangoes in winter, they are coming from other parts of the world. Now that is not the time to eat mangoes. The time for eating mangoes will come in April, May, June, July, and that is the right time. Similarly, you get fruits from right now from New Zealand and Australia, which are grown in the hot weather there, and they come in the cold weather in India. They are not suitable for us. We should take locally grown seasonal fruits and vegetables. That is a very, very important lesson we should learn. Otherwise, the fruits and vegetables actually poison your body. If you take non-seasonal fruits and vegetables, they don't help your body, they actually poison your body and they become the source of illness. So I think this is very a cardinal principle. We should decide not to eat non-seasonal fruits and vegetables. That is one thing. Secondly, always eat fresh as far as possible. Fruits and vegetables which are old by several days, I think we should throw them away. We should avoid that. Fresh fruits and vegetables are important, and organic fruits and vegetables are important. Organic, it used to be organic all the time before actually. Before these fertilizers and pesticides came about 50 years back, everything was organic. But now people call it organic because everywhere there is a use of fertilizer and pesticides. So we should try to take organic food and in the right quantum. Now, my advice is that we should avoid junk food. The fast food is also not so good for body. Once a while one can take for a change. The younger generation has a lot of tendency to take fast food, but it is best to avoid. The freshly cooked food at home, there's no comparison to that. So I think those are cardinal principles. Some deviations here and there, one can decide based on one's health and food habits and requirements. Now, very important part next is sun cycle. Sun is extremely important for our life. Actually, sun is approximately 150 million kilometers away from the earth. 15 crore kilometers, 150 million kilometers away from the earth. But if you look at our lifestyle, we get up with the sunrise. As soon as the sun rises, we get up. As soon as the sun sets, we start winding up our day and we prepare ourselves to sleep. That is the cycle which has been set by nature. And those people, particularly in BPOs and in some IT companies who work in the night and sleep in the day, you will find that after some time, their mental retardation starts happening. A lot of people go crazy, a lot of people become restless, a lot of people lose their sleep. So that kind of habit we should avoid. Late nights, and all of us, I suppose, have done in the youth, but it is best to avoid late nights. It is best to sleep in time because we should follow the sun cycle. Sun cycle is not only regulating our life, but it is also regulating the pranic energy of the body. All the five pranas are recharged by the sun, and that is what runs our body. When you go to the cold countries, those people are starving for the sun, and as soon as they find sun, they want to just lie down in the sun. It is because their body is lacking the food which comes from the sun, the digestive power, the pranic energy which comes from the sun. It is missing in their bodies. And therefore, the sun, exposing our body to the sun periodically is very important. Keep sitting inside a air-conditioned room all the time is not very good for health. You will find people who live in five-star hotels all the time, and their energy is lost. The energy of the sun you can get only when you are exposed to the sun and when you are breathing fresh air, because the air also contains sun energy. So these are very important things which we must observe for a very happy and fulfilled life. These are just small precautions which we can take, but they are extremely important. Follow the sun cycle, expose yourself a little bit to the sun whenever you can. Don't stay indoor under air-conditioned atmosphere all the time. These are not good for our energy cycle, for our digestive system, for our pranic energy. Then exercise and sleep. I think body is designed in such a way that we have to do exercise. In the olden days, exercise were inbuilt into the system. People used to go to the fields, work there, the exercise automatically used to happen. We used to walk kilometers because there were no transport systems. And we used to play in the fields. Now we play on internet, we don't walk, we have transport systems. As a result, we are not able to do enough exercise of the body. And therefore, we have to develop a routine for ourselves that every morning one will exercise at least for half an hour. Either you do yoga or you do gym or you do any other exercise which you find suitable for your body. So this is extremely important. Then sleep cycle. I think minimum 7 to 8 hours of sleep in the night. The sleep cycle is not only because we feel tired. There's a very scientific reason behind this. The scientific reason is that during the daytime we are using the energy externally. We are thinking, we are talking, we are reading, we are walking, we are using our hands, our sense organs, and that is using our energy. In the night time, that entire energy is converted or turned inwards into the body. And the internal systems are repaired using the same energy, whether it is digestive system, whether it is disposal of waste, whether it is circulatory system. All these systems are actually what you call repaired and maintained during the night time when our energy is turned inwards. And this is extremely important. So sleep is not only allowing you to rest, to take rest, but it allows you to repair all your body organs from inside. Body is, after all, is a machinery. It requires repairs and maintenance periodically. So the nature has made a system that when you sleep, that energy goes inside and it repairs your body. It tones all the organs of the body and makes them ready for the day. So it is extremely important, the sleep cycle. Then disposal of waste. I think depending on the habit, normally people, we say that twice a day, twice a month, and twice a year. That is 2 times disposal of waste in the daytime and evening time, morning and evening. And twice a month, that is twice a month one should do vrat or upwas, eating once a day or not eating at all. That is to give rest to the entire system. So either you do upwas, that is complete rest to the system, don't eat anything. If you can't maintain that and if you find it extremely difficult, then eat only once and allow the system to regenerate itself. So that is twice a month one should do that, and twice a year, that is what you call the cleaning process. In Rajasthan, we used to call take julab twice a year. That is, some people take custard oil, some people take something else to clean the body. So if we maintain this system twice a day, twice a month, and twice a year, I think generally the body would be absolutely fine. And the most critical part of the all organs in the body is the digestive system. The digestive system is the one which provides nutrition to all other parts of the body, including the heart and the lungs and your respiratory system and whatever it is, respiratory system and your circulatory system, everything. So I think this is extremely important that we keep it clean. And other thing which we can use to clean the system is Panchkarma. Ayurveda provides a very fascinating system in which they actually administer a system of herbal medications and controlled diet for a period of 2 to 3 weeks and clean the entire body from inside. That system is, of course, cannot be done at home. It has to be done in a proper Ayurvedic hospital under the supervision of a doctor. I would recommend that at this age, once in 3 years, one should do Panchkarma. That requires a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and it will require you to stay in the hospital most likely. They will give you medications, and those are not really medications, they are basically herbs, and regulate your diet. And they will do some massage of the body, and they will do the cleaning from inside. So these are the things which we have to do to keep the body clean, to keep the body in order. And these are not difficult things. Regulating your food, regulating your exercise regime, following the sun cycle, regulating your sleep cycle, cleaning the body on regular basis plus periodically once a while. I think these are not so difficult. If we can cultivate these habits, and particularly if we can tell our children to cultivate these habits, I think that would be extremely useful. Then they will have no problem of health in the life. I cannot guarantee that, but I can assure you that by and large people will not have any health problem if they follow these 2 things, and the yoga, meditation, and the dietary and other systems which I just mentioned. So I think the young generation should be told about these things. This is just a matter of habit. Once they develop this habit, this can continue. And this would avoid all the unpleasantness we have, because we have to visit doctors, because we have to take chemical-based medications, because sometimes we are hospitalized. All those things can be avoided in life. For myself, I can tell you that I have fortunately so far never been hospitalized and never taken any medications except a very brief period in 1990 when I was in Paris and I developed some cervical problem. That was the only time when I suffered, and after that I learned my lessons and I continued to follow my systems. So based on my own experience, based on the experience of some of my other colleagues, I can assure you that if you follow this regime, a daily routine, and getting up in the morning, going to the toilet to dispose of the waste, and after that doing your asana, take your shower, then after that do your meditation, start your day. That is one part. The second part is regulate your food, regulate your life with sun cycle, regulate your sleep cycle, regulate your exercise regime. If you can do little bit more exercise in the evening, there's nothing better than that. So all these things, and disposal of waste, periodic cleaning of the body, I think these are some of the things which can make you very healthy, and you will feel happy. You will feel would be able to avoid all the visits to the hospitals and doctors. You will be able to avoid the emotions and temperaments which come into the body system when one is not feeling well. So all that can be avoided. So this is just a general, what you call overview of good daily routine of life which we can follow. And if we can inculcate these habits in our children and grandchildren, I think that would be great. Now we come to another important topic. That is, there are two words in Sanskrit or Hindi, we call them sthiti and paristhiti. Sthiti means where you are, or you are established in yourself. That is sthir. The word sthir also comes from that. That is, you are sitting in your own self. Pari is the paridhi around you, the periphery, the surroundings of your side. That is, it's also called paridhi, but paristhiti, the word paristhiti comes from that. The paristhiti basically means the situations surrounding you. That is the paristhiti. Now, each one of us give tremendous importance to paristhiti. Each one of us. There are three factors which come into play here. The first factor is that we all try to please others. The people surrounding us, we try to please them. The second thing, we try to put blame on the outside forces or outside persons rather than assuming the responsibility. And third thing is that we try to judge others. These are three great tendencies which each one of us has, and we have to get rid of these three tendencies if we want to make our life happy and fulfilled. The first thing, don't try to please others. That is not your objective of life, nor can you please others. You cannot keep others happy. That is not possible. This Paramatma has created this whole large universe and created all of us. Even he could not keep us happy. Every person keeps blaming him every day, every single day. All the 7-8 billion people on this earth, they all blame him every single day. We all blame the rulers, we all blame the prime ministers and presidents every single day. So nobody can keep everybody happy. So let us not even get into that direction. What we should do, we should judge our action. What we are doing is right thing. What we are doing is not hurting anybody else. It is not intended to hurt others, and it is intrinsically a right thing to do. If we are fine with these two criteria while doing things, don't worry whether others will be happy or unhappy or pleased or unpleased with our action. That is not our business. Now let me tell you a small story to explain this point. In the desert of Rajasthan, a grandfather and his grandson, they were traveling from one village to another. They had a camel with them. They went out with the camel, and it was, the summertime, month of, say, May. So the grandfather and the grandson started from a village called Kartarpur. They took their camel, they sat, both of them sat down on the camel and started riding the camel. They went to another village after, say, about 2 hours. They found a group of people who were sitting in the village, and they started commenting on them. They look at these people, they have no pity for this camel. It's such a hot weather. Both of them are riding the camel, and the camel is sweating in this heat. So the elder man, the grandfather thought, yeah, they are right. It's very hot. We should have some pity on the camel. So being the elder one, he thought I should get down and walk. So he got down and he walked, and the grandson was riding the camel. They went another 20 kilometers, another 10 kilometers, and another group of people met them in a village. And they commented on that. Look at this young guy. He has no pity on his grandfather. The grandfather is sweating in this heat, and he is enjoying the camel ride. Look at this guy. What kind of, grandson he is. So the grandson thought, yeah, they're right, absolutely. My grandfather is old and he needs to enjoy the camel ride. I should walk. So he got down and he persuaded his grandfather to ride the camel. The grandfather sat down, started riding the camel, and the grandson started walking with the camel. They went another 20 kilometers, another village came, another group of people. They commented, look at this old man. He's going to die in any case in the coming year or two. He has no pity for his grandson. What kind of grandfather he is? He has no pity. The grandson is suffering in this heat and he's enjoying the camel ride. So the grandfather said, yeah, they are also right. So he got down himself, both of them started walking. Then they walked another few kilometers. Another group of people came and they commented, look at these foolish people. They don't know how to use this camel. They are both suffering in the sun. The camel is enjoying beautiful, weather is enjoying free ride, and they are taking. So the grandfather thought, what should we do now? We have taken all the possible options, and still people are blaming us for one thing or the other. So the only option left was to carry the camel on the back. So they decided to do that. And you can see the result. Result was naturally, they said, these are foolish people. They don't know how to use the camel. Even camel is more wise than these guys are. So whatever you do the moral of the story is that whatever you do in life, you will always find a group of people who will criticize you or who will admire you. So take that as granted. Don't judge or don't do things to please XYZ. That is not your objective and you should not be driven by that. As soon as you get into that trap, you are on the wrong direction. Whether he is your boss or whether he is a member of your family, don't do things to please others. You should do right things. You should do things which are not hurting anybody else. Then there will be no problem. So this is the first lesson we should do, and I can assure you, once you follow this, you will always be happy. The second thing, we have the tendency to blame others. This is very natural tendency in each one of us. If you fall sick, you blame your wife that she gave me very, bad food and that's why I'm suffering. When you have a problem in the office, you blame your boss that this guy is, making trouble for me all the time. He doesn't give me promotion. He doesn't give me rise in the salary and keep taking all the work and still, he creates problem for me. Or you blame your colleague that this guy is not doing anything. I'm doing his work and still So this tendency you will find everywhere, in every sphere of our activity. We try to find fault somewhere else. परिस्थिति में दूसरी तरफ, outside, in the paridhi, we try to find a fault. The fault does not lie there. The fault lies with us. How we allow that particular event from outside to impact on ourselves. That is very important. If we are vulnerable to the events outside, naturally it is our fault and we allow ourselves to suffer. So we have to actually strengthen our inner self in such a way that you become still, you become, firm, and outside events are not able to impact on you or overtake you. That is very, very important. And that comes from resolution, that comes from the feeling that you are part of the Almighty, you are powerful, you have strength, you are intelligent, and you can do everything that is needed to be done. And you should assume the responsibility for whatever you are doing. There is no point in blaming others. So this has to stop. We can't keep blaming others. We have to take the blame on ourselves. And in any case, every action has a reaction. And whatever we are suffering or not suffering or enjoying today is the result of our own actions in the past. Therefore, this tendency to blame others must come to a halt. Sooner or later, the earlier the better, and then you will find that you are looking inwards. If you are getting into some trouble, you are facing a problem, then you will look inwards, what wrong I did, why I got into this problem. And then that search inwards starts and you start improving yourself. When you find a scapegoat outside, then you don't look inwards. You just look outward and blame that situation or blame the individual and you get out of it. Then the chance to go inward is not available to you. The chance is available when you stop blaming others. You stop for a moment and say what wrong I did, and you think yourself inside, you will find a solution to the problem. And I think that will cure all the troubles which you are blaming on the outside world. All those troubles will stop slowly when you start looking inside and finding solution to those problems from your own self. So that is the second very important part in this, third point. The third is judging. Now we have, this is. I can't say I'm not free of it. I'm also part of it. I also judge people very often, and I used to judge much more. Now I have, come down considerably. Now I don't judge too much, but still I do. Now judging others, the person is doing whatever work he's doing, we immediately pass a judgment. Oh, this guy is good, this guy is bad, this guy is lazy, this guy is dishonest, this guy is honest, this guy is arrogant, this guy is, criminal. All these comments, without going into complete facts, without analyzing the situation, without ascertaining the real ground situation, we have this tendency to judge others. So we have to restrain ourselves from judging others. Firstly, we cannot judge others because we can never know the complete facts of a situation. If a couple, husband and wife, are having problem between two of them, now it is impossible for a third person to know the complete facts of the problem. We cannot judge who is wrong, who is right, and how it can be resolved. We can, of course, give some general advice, but they know the complete facts. If there is a dispute between father and son, brother and brother, husband and wife, neighbor and another neighbor, now all these things, if we start blaming X, Y, Z for all this, Again, the same process that we don't look inward. So we should not judge. The judging others, blaming others, and pleasing others. These three things are not good. They stop our journey inwards. We have to look inwards and find what I can do in this situation, how I can improve upon this situation. That is what we need to do. And then all these three factors will slowly get out of our daily life. These are perpetually in our lives. Nobody can deny that. We are all party to this. But with some introspection, slowly, this can reduce, and this can reduce considerably. Judging others, even you can see the cases pending in courts and even right up to the Supreme Court. So many evidences are given, so many arguments have taken place, all kinds of documents have been submitted. Even then, those people are not able to give a correct judgment of a situation. The things can be falsified. The evidence can be compromised. Evidence can be created artificially. I was watching a serial the other day that is part of Mahabharata serial, in which this is the story after the Mahabharata war was over. And then Arjun was sent to, on a what you call friendship journey to create friends in different kingdoms. And he went to Manipur as part of that thing, and he got married because that marriage alliance was part of friendship in the olden age, that if you want to strengthen and cement your friendship, marriage is the best alliance. So the Manipur's king said, okay, if you want to cement, then you marry my daughter, and the daughter was already practically fallen in love with him, and therefore the marriage was held. And then somebody else, some other prince from the Netherland, that Nagaland, they call it, underground, that is the reference given there. And she was very jealous, and she created a situation in which she manipulated things in such a way that it appeared that this princess who married to Arjuna was having affair with somebody else. And that seed of suspicion was sown in the mind of Arjun, which led to a big problem, and then Arjun abandoned that girl and went away. So what I'm telling you is that the outside events, outside situations, they can be manipulated. What we see with our own eyes may not necessarily be true. We see that what we see is right. No, it is not necessarily true. Because we see different versions of the same thing even during the day. When you look at a river in the morning, it looks different. When you look at it in the daytime, it looks very different. When you look at it in the evening time, it looks very different. It is the same river which is flowing, but it gives you totally different impressions. So even your eyes can deceive you, your ears can deceive you. What you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you touch may not always be true. It can be manipulated. The outside world can be manipulated, but nobody can manipulate inside us. So the inside part should be pure, the inside part should be firm, it should be stable, then nobody can disturb our peace. So the point here is that if we can avoid these three things, trying to please others, trying to blame others, trying to judge others, I think we will stabilize our own self. We will, what we call, we will be firmly established in ourselves. And that is what we need to do. Here, the concept of dharma comes into play. Because when we get into a situation in the world, what is wrong, what is right, what should be done, what is moral, what is ethical, these questions do arise in our day-to-day lives. and how to handle those situations, how to deal with them is a dilemma which we face every day. But I think I will deal with this subject of dharma separately because that is a very uh, elaborate subject. We have to deal with that in a very detailed manner. We'll have one or two talks on that separately. But here I just want to mention that dharma is actually based on your inner stability. धर्म मीन्स जो आप धारण करते हैं अंदर, दैट इज धर्म. इट इज नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन द आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड, बट इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन व्हाट यू हैव इनसाइड taken as your principle of life or mission of life. So the dharma is an inner thing which you, जैसे आप कपड़े पहन लेते हैं उसी तरह से धर्म अंदर पहना जाता है. इट इज धारण किया जाता है आपके अंदर, आपकी बॉडी माइंड कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर धर्म धारण होता है. तो उस धर्म को अब धारण हम जब भी कर सकते हैं करेक्टली जब हम इन तीनों चीज़ों को अवॉइड कर सकें. बट ऑन द धर्म वी विल हैव ए सेपरेट सेशन एंड विल टॉक अबाउट दैट. बट एट दिस मोमेंट आई थिंक इफ वी कैन अवॉइड दीज थ्री थिंग्स एंड देन we will talk about time. The time is very, very important. We will talk about that primarily in the next session. Time basically, in Sanskrit, it is called Kal. Kal is also Mrityu, also death. And it is also Kal, we call Kal and Kal. It can be the Kal past, the yesterday, and it can be kal tomorrow. It is all time except aaj which is different and ab which is now, and the kal which is gone and the kal which is come, it is all the same in the Indian philosophy, and there are fundamental reason why it is so. And this is the word for kal and death is the same. This also has a reason for that, but the details we will discuss later. But briefly I'll touch upon this now. Kal is movement, time is movement. Without time, there is no movement. When we see the watch moving, it is not the Kal. It is the watch which we have made to measure the time. But the Kal is not visible anywhere in the universe. If you find where it is, you cannot find it. It's not there. It is the movement itself is the Kal. When we grow from birth to childhood, to adulthood, to old age, that is Kal. It is the Kal is making you grow. You are growing because of the Kal. Every single moment, the time is passing, and the things are growing. Everything is growing, not only us, but a tree is growing, and even the earth is growing old, and even sun is growing old. Everything is subject to what you call the vagaries of time. So the time is movement, it gives movement to the life. Without time, there is no movement to the life. And that is why we call, the God is called Kalatit, because he is beyond time. Our Sikh friends call Akal Takht. Akal Takht means the Takht which is beyond the Kal, which is, beyond the movement of life, which is the seat of God. So all this Kal, Akal, Kalatit, all these words are linked to what we call movement of life. Whenever there is movement of life, it is Kal. This is vibration. Every single vibration leads to the movement of life. And that is linked to the time, that is linked to the Kal. And when we can stop that time, when we can reach a stage where the time stops, then we become Kalatit, we become part of the Almighty. We reach a place which is called Parampad in Bhagavad Gita, that nothing moves there, everything is completely stable. Of course, that is a very, ideal or what you call a situation which is sort of utopia, but it has its ramifications for us, We will talk about this in our next session in more detail, but we have to stabilize these movements of life. The world outside is moving all the time. The world inside should remain stable, and we keep watching this outside world moving. That should be the play of life. Our inside world is stable, it is sthir, it is stable, and the movement happening outside, you watch that movement. That is the you are sitting in the theater and you are watching that very beautifully, and that is ultimately arrives when we are able to stabilize inside and feel that the movement is taking place only outside, not inside. That state is reached at some time in life, but it's a slow process. So let me repeat the things we discussed today briefly. The first thing, we have to recharge the battery of our mind first. Every day in the morning, we should spend about 45 minutes to ourselves, half an hour of yoga or asanas, and 15 to 20 minutes of meditation. I can assure you your day will go beautifully. You will be peaceful, you will be happy, you will feel fulfilled. That is the beginning of the day. Regulate your food habits. The food should be in right quantity, right quality. It should be at right time. The quality, quantity, timings should be regulated. It should be fresh, it should be seasonal, it should be eaten slowly also. That is also important. If you eat food slowly, it digests better. So all these things are important for the food. Then we have to do exercise. It should be part of our daily routine. We should maintain our sleep cycle properly, because during sleep time, the body intelligence goes, the energy goes inside. It is directed to repair all our organs. So that is very important part. We should see that our waste is disposed of properly. We should take, if possible, panchkarma once in 2-3 years. That is also important. And then, of course, we should follow the sun cycle. Sun is extremely important for our life. And actually, in the olden days, sun was the only god. If you go to ancient civilizations, the sun god is the first god, because with that you are able to see the world. Without the sun, you are in darkness. As soon as the sun comes, the world is revealed to you every morning after the sunrise. And then it gives you energy to run yourself. All the pranic energy runs with the help of sun rays and sun energy. It gives you heat. It is also the source of your food, because without sun there is no water cycle. Without sun there is no photosynthesis activity. So all these reasons, sun was considered very, very important. And this is the only source of energy on earth, whether it is hydel energy or it is nuclear energy or any other part of energy. The original source is the sun, from where all the energy comes. So sun cycle is extremely important. And then we should avoid 3 things. We don't need to please others. We can never do that. We can't please everybody. That's impossible task. Even the Almighty has failed in that. Then we should not blame others every time. Which anything goes wrong with us, we find fault with others. And we need not to judge people unnecessarily. That is not our business. If there's a legal issue, there are courts and there are, these tribunals which look after all this part. So far as we are concerned, we can judge ourselves. We can look inward and improve our own, what you call integrity, our own thinking, our own stability, and that will contribute to the peace. So we should avoid these 3 things as far as possible. And then about the time, we will talk about this in our next session in more detail. But time is extremely important, that the whole world is passing through what you call it's a transience. It's all the time changing. That change is happening because of the time, and that is causing instability in the world. And that instability is inherited by us because our mind follows the time. And since mind follows the time, we are all the time unstable, all the time unstable. And we should try to reduce that instability by stabilizing our own self. But we will talk in more detail on this issue in our next session, and we will talk some other issues which are concerning our day-to-day happiness and a life which can be fulfilled for all of us. So thank you very much. Now, if you have any questions on this, I'll be happy to answer, and then we will go in our next phase, that is the meditation.